Good morning, students. In the last class, we learnt about factors affecting air pressure. Today, we are going to learn about atmospheric pressure and winds, and we are going to focus more on the major pressure belts of the Earth. Now, the horizontal distribution of atmospheric pressure varies from place to place. It is due to this variation in temperature and the rotation of the Earth, we have got the different pressure belts. Now, the Earth is not equally heated everywhere. If you look at this map, you will find that the entire Earth is unequally heated. The equatorial regions get the maximum heat from the sun, while the polar regions are the coldest. And because of this differential heating, the heated air at the equator becomes lighter and rises, while the polar regions, which are very cold, the air over here sinks, forming high pressure areas. Rotation of the Earth also plays a very important role in determining the pressure belts. The bulk of the air swings from the polar regions towards the equator. However, we also find low pressure belts at 60° north and 60° south latitudes. It is mainly because of the width of the area of the Earth, about which I will talk in the later part of the lesson. So these are the 7 pressure belts of the Earth. Now let us take one by one and explain each of them in detail. Now the equatorial low pressure belt is found 5° north to 5° south of the equator. Now this region receives the vertical rays of the sun throughout the year. Hence the air is very hot and it expands, become less dense, and so it rises, creating a low pressure belt over here. The strong centrifugal force and the high amount of water content due to excessive evaporation is also responsible for the formation of a low pressure. Here we can see the northeast and the southeast winds converge, and that is why we have the area of the ITCZ right over here, which is known as the Intra-tropical convergence zone. And why we call this the ITCZ? Because it is over here that the two important and strong winds, the northeast and the southeast, are converging. The ascending convectional air current rises, and in the upper troposphere it spreads horizontally towards the poles. This ascending air currents leads to the occurrence of convectional rainfall in the afternoon with violent squalls and thunderstorms. This low pressure region experiences very calm conditions with very little wind. Hence, this area is also known as the doldrums. Here, ships can remain stagnant for months because of lack of winds. Sailors in the past used to avoid these doldrums mainly because of lack of winds in this region. Next, we come to the subtropical high pressure zone. Now, this belt extends from 30° north to 35° north in the northern hemisphere and 30° south to 35° south in the southern hemisphere. Now, here it is a high pressure zone, and it is a high pressure zone because all the warm air which has risen from the equatorial area is now become condensed and it begins to form a belt of high pressure at 30° north and 30° south. Now, owing to the higher latitudes, this area is having a cooler temperature, lesser temperature. So, these areas are having a high pressure. Another reason is when we determine the sphericity of the earth, we find that this region is having a lesser width than that of the equatorial region. As a result, this area 30° north and 30° south form the subtropical high pressure zone. This area is also known as the zone of horse latitudes. It is mainly because this area, the winds are moving outwards because these areas are high pressure zones. So the winds are moving outwards. As a result, these areas are also known as regions of calm. During the 15th and the 16th century, when people used to travel by ships and they used to carry horses as they traded horses with other parts of the region in the Middle East, the ships used to get stuck for long periods in these horse latitudes. And in order to make the ship lighter so that the ship could move along with the scarce winds, they used to drop the horses in the water. And in all these areas, in the water, they used to float carcasses of horses. That is why these areas are known as the horse latitude. Another important feature of this belt is the presence of deserts. Now, owing to a high pressure zone, we find that winds are moving outwards. Winds are not coming inwards. As a result, most of the western part of the continents, we find deserts in the high pressure belt. Here we have the Arizona desert, the Atacama desert. Down south, we have the Patagonian desert, Kalahari, the sandy desert of Australia, the Sahara. All of them we find to be having present in the high pressure zone. Besides this, due to the presence of cold currents in all these western part of the continents, the winds which are blowing, they are unable to carry moisture. So these areas have turned into desert. Now the subpolar low pressure extends from 60° north to 65° north and 60° south to 65° south. Now these belts should actually be high pressure belts, mainly because they are situated at a very high latitude. But they have been created due to the effect of rotation of the earth and the bulk of air from the poles which are moving towards the equator. Let us understand this very clearly. Now, because the earth is a very large planet, the bulk of cold air cannot directly reach the equatorial belt. And due to the rotation of the earth, the cold air is made to sink at a lower latitude from the poles, that is at 60° north and 60° south. Now again, because of the spherical nature of the earth, this area is large and the cold dense air now has to occupy a larger area at 60° north and 60° south. So the density of the air becomes less. As a result, subpolar low air pressure belts are formed at 60° north and 60° south latitude. These belts are areas of convergence of westerlies, because it is over here that westerlies are blowing. Here also we find the westerlies are blowing in this direction. Show it with the help of the pen. So here the westerlies are blowing in this direction. In the north, in the south, they are blowing in this direction. Because these are low pressure areas, so winds are moving towards this low pressure area. So these areas have got a lot of cyclonic activities and storminess, especially during the winter season. The polar high pressure cells or belts are found between 80° north to 90° north in the northern hemisphere and 80° south to 90° south in the southern hemisphere. Due to extreme cold temperature throughout the year, the region develops a belt of dense, heavy, sinking air causing high pressure. Due to the rotation of the earth, a strong centripetal force is caused, which contributes to the high pressure over here. So in this video, we have learned about the 7 pressure belts and what is the reason of their formation. I hope you have understood the topic well. So that is what we have enough time for today.